Drone warfare is often presented as a detached and precise form of modern warfare. It is described in muted language, with terms, surveillance platforms, targeted strikes or unmanned systems. But behind this language is a much more unsettling reality. Drone warfare marks a disturbing shift in how violence is carried out, all while remaining physically and perhaps emotionally distant from the consequences. It's perhaps helpful to start with a description as to what is meant by a drone. In military terms, a drone is an unmanned aerial vehicle that operates without a pilot on board that is used in some way to further military objectives. It's usually controlled remotely by an operator or guided through automated systems. These machines can remain in the air for extended periods, transmitting live footage of the battlefield, identifying targets, and in many instances, carrying weapons. Typically, drones are used for reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and killing enemy combatants. What makes them disturbing is not their capability, but the separation they create. The person making decisions is no longer exposed to the danger in the same way as a soldier on the ground. War becomes something observed through a screen, even operated with video game controllers. But for the soldier on the ground, facing off with the drone, the danger is all too real and present. The idea of removing humans from the point of attack is nothing new. In its most basic form, arrows and stones shot and fired seek to cause harm whilst trying to keep the combatant safe. But drones seek to remove the human element as much as possible. One of the earliest attempts at unmanned warfare occurred in 1849 during the Austrian siege of Venice. Austrian forces launched balloons filled with explosives, hoping that the wind currents would carry them over the city before they detonated. But many of the balloons failed to reach their target, drifting unpredictably or even returning towards Austrian positions. The plan was crude and largely ineffective. But it's an example of how long it has been plotted how to best deliver destruction without direct human involvement. During the First World War, engineers developed experimental unmanned aircraft designed to carry explosives. Dubbed flying torpedoes, the most notable were those of the Kettering Bug, a small biplane fitted with a simple guidance system. It operated by counting engine revolutions to an estimated distance. Once it reached the predetermined point, its wings would detach and the aircraft would fall towards the ground as a bomb. Although it was never used in combat, it represented a significant development. It wasn't simply an unmanned device. It was a somewhat guided weapon designed to travel across distance to deliver a controlled strike. The Second World War saw the next step in the use of unmanned weapons. The German V-1 flying bomb is one of the most well-known examples. Launched in large numbers against Britain, particularly London, the V-1 was an early form of cruise missile. It used a pulse jet engine and a basic guidance system to travel towards its target before crashing and detonating. It could not be controlled once launched, but it demonstrated the destructive potential of unmanned aerial attack. Whilst today it is considered to be a basic missile, it was a forerunner to more modern drones. Civilians who experienced these weapons feared the ever-present threat that a strike may be at any time, along with a distinctive buzzing noise that preceded the deadly explosions. After World War II, drones shifted to reconnaissance, allowing intelligence gathering without risking pilots. Early models were unreliable but still useful. Advances in technology later improved range, reliability, and real-time data transmission. By the Vietnam War and into the 1990s, drones had become a key part of military operations. But the early 21st century marked a decisive turning point. Drones were no longer limited to observation. They became weapons. Drones were equipped with missiles and tasked with targeted strikes. These systems combined surveillance and attack capabilities, allowing operators to keep an eye on the battlefield miles away and for extended periods of time before deciding to engage. A target could be tracked over days or even weeks. Patterns of behavior could be analyzed, movements could be predicted, and when the decision was made, a missile could be launched with little warning. The most recognizable of these drones was the MQ-1 Predator drone, first deployed in the mid-1990s. It saw use as reconnaissance during the conflicts in the Balkans, but by February of 2001, successful tests showed that the drone could be fitted with missiles. Following the 11th of September attacks in New York, deployment and use of these missile drones was approved, and they soon became a major tool in the war on terror. They were soon used in targeted attacks against suspects of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, often outside of the battlefield. This included Abu Ali al-Houthi, leader of Al-Qaeda in Yemen. On the 3rd of November 2002, a CIA Predator drone operated from Africa located Ali al-Houthi, and they were able to monitor his vehicle in real time whilst approval was obtained for the strike. As the car was travelling through the Yemeni city of Marib, the drone launched its Hellfire missile, killing Ali al-Houthi along with its 5 other passengers. This marked the first use of a drone to carry out a targeted assassination. This development fundamentally changed the nature of warfare. The battlefield was no longer defined by physical presence, nor was it limited to active engagements. A drone operator could be thousands of miles away from the target, watching the events unfold in real time, waiting for the right moment to strike. The act of killing was tempered by screens, sensors, and data feeds. But with this new form of warfare came inevitable mistakes and deadly accidents. Drone strikes depend heavily on intelligence, and intelligence can be incomplete or incorrect. Misidentification of targets has resulted in civilian casualties. One of the more disturbing examples is the Kabul drone strike on the 29th of August 2021, during the final days of the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. A vehicle was identified as belonging to ISIS and was believed to have been carrying explosives for an imminent attack on the Kabul airport. Drone operators even identified what they thought were explosives being loaded into the back of a car, but the vehicle was owned by Zamari Hamadi. Hamadi was just an aid worker, and these explosives were actually just containers of water. As Hamadi pulled into his residential compound, the drone fired a Hellfire missile, blowing up his car and killing him instantly. But the missile also caused a secondary explosion of a propane tank. In total, 10 civilians were killed in the strike, including 7 young children as young as 2 years old. Ahmadi's behavior of simply driving around the city were interpreted as akin to a militant. The urgency of the situation, created by live feed drone video, reduced the time available for verification, increasing the likelihood of an error, and in the end, innocent people were killed. The consequences of these errors are evidently severe. Unlike conventional battles, where destruction may be widespread but visible, drone strikes are often sudden and localized. A single drone strike can destroy a building or a vehicle in seconds. Those nearby will have no warning and no opportunity to escape. It's not uncommon for entire families to be killed as a result of incorrect targeting or flawed intelligence. Today, drone warfare incorporates so-called kamikaze drones. These drones are self-destructive and loiter over a given location. Remotely flown by a human operator, they search or wait for targets like enemy vehicles, artillery, or soldiers. In the war in Ukraine, many of these types of drones have been deployed, often with the operator having a first-person view of the drone. This brings a much more personal element to drone warfare. There is much footage online of these types of drones, seeing them hunt down enemy soldiers and tanks. Some of the footage can be incredibly disturbing. The drones themselves in this instance are no bigger than dinner plates, typically measuring between 20 and 30 centimeters across and weighing just over a kilogram. Despite their small size, they are capable of carrying explosive payloads powerful enough to kill or seriously injure anyone within range. Their compact design allows them to move quickly, change direction mid-flight, and enter spaces that larger weapons cannot, including trenches, buildings, and vehicles. There is no single official figure for how many people drones have killed in Ukraine, but estimates give a clear sense of the scale. Military analysts believe that between 60 and 80% of all battlefield casualties are caused by drones, with total casualties on both sides reaching into the hundreds of thousands. And on top of this, civilians are increasingly affected, with United Nations data showing that over a quarter of civilian deaths in certain months are caused by these small drones. In this type of footage, you can see soldiers resigning themselves to their fate, unable to stop the drone from crashing into them. Beyond the immediate physical damage, drone warfare has introduced a grim psychological impact. In regions where drones are frequently deployed, their presence is constant, but they are heard before they are seen. For those living under the threat of drones, this sound can become associated with the possibility of sudden violence and death. This psychological dimension is one of the defining features of modern drone warfare, and at the same time, advances in artificial intelligence are beginning to influence drone warfare. Some systems are being designed with increasing levels of autonomy, raising the possibility that machines could make decisions about targeting and engaging with limited human input. The goal to reduce the risk and harm faced by humans in war could see them removed entirely from parts of the process. As drone technology continues to evolve, its role in warfare is likely to continue expanding. The ability to observe and strike from a distance will remain a central feature of modern conflict. Just imagine for a second, you're on a battlefield and you hear the mechanical hum. You know it's seen you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. You can't bargain with it, and you can't outrun it.